So Phyllis will be right here in front of this pulpit. Also, we still need some coffee hour hosts for the months of March and April. Next Sunday on March 15th at 3 p.m., we are hosting the Blue Ridge Classical Guitar Orchestra concert. Our own Larry Anderson is a part of this group. This is the first time that we've been able to have them, so I hope that you can join us. Also, we are doing something, I don't know if it's wacky or not. In between, you can bring percussion. If in between, you can bring songs of solidarity and protest that you have maybe heard people in Minneapolis singing, or if you're on, I don't know, social media somewhere, you've seen some of the videos. There is a very active singing resistance group, which is a national movement, Asheville, and I had the opportunity to go to the singing resistance teach in Asheville, the first one a while ago. So I asked a couple of the women who are like song doulas, and they're like professionals, if they would come to Hendersonville to lead us. I will tell you, I found the experience incredibly healing to be with other people singing a cappella. It doesn't even matter if you can carry a tune or not. It just doesn't matter. So on noon this Wednesday, we are going to continue our Lenten practice of To Walk the Labyrinth with others. This past week, 8 people joined us in that walk. And with that, I also want to say that our church administrator, Jennifer Austin Jansen, her family had a tragic death on Friday. Her younger brother died, had an event, probably a cardiac event, they're not exactly sure, on a plane, headed on a business trip, and was pronounced dead when they landed. And so that has been a rather traumatic event for her mother and for her and her wife, Carol. So the first thing I want to ask you is to keep Jennifer and her family in your prayers. And also, please note that the office will not be staffed as fully this week, especially. We will be here until noon every day. I will send a note out, but please be patient with us as we work to, we're working to be resilient. We talked about resilience. So anyway, so please keep them in your heart and thoughts and prayers. And with that, let's offer one another holy hellos. So let's take a few moments to continue being present in this space with one another. I will give the bell a tone, and it will invite us into a time of silence, of 3 breaths. And on the last exhale, you are welcome to hum with me if you wish. So just feel yourself in your seat and breathe in, hold, and release. Breathe in again. Let's hold just a little longer. Slowly release. Breathe in, hold, Please join me in the opening words. This is a thin place where earth and heaven embrace, where past interweaves with future, where we gather expectantly. This is a thin place where hopes are renewed, where faith is restored, where peace is revived, where love is refreshed. This is a thin place. Love about us, love beside us, and love within us. Grace revealed as we worship together.
Today's ancient reading is a paraphrase of John 4:5 through 42. A tired rabbi, a marginalized woman, a well that becomes a spring. And the first public witness in John's gospel is a woman whose voice opens a whole town to living water. Hear now the story. Jesus arrived in the Samaritan town of Sychar and sat down beside Jacob's well at noon, tired from the journey. A Samaritan woman came along to draw water. Jesus said, "Give me a drink." She was startled. "How is it that you, a Jewish man, ask me, a Samaritan woman, for water?" Centuries of division stood between them. Ethnic, religious, gendered, Jesus replied, "If you knew the gift of God before you, you would ask me for living water." She gestured toward him. "You have no bucket. The well is deep. Are you greater than our ancestors?" Jesus said, "This water satisfies only for a while. The water I give becomes a spring within, life that does not run dry." She said with both practicality and longing in her voice, "Sir, give me that water. I am tired of daily labor, tired of thirst." Jesus said, "Go call your husband and come back." She answered, steady and direct, "I have no husband." "You speak truth," he said. "You have had 5 husbands, and the one you are with now is not your husband." This part of the story is often told as exposure, but it is recognition. In a world where women had little control over marriage, divorce, or survival, her history may have been shaped more by abandonment and vulnerability than scandal. Jesus does not shame her. He sees her. He names her reality. She said, "Sir, I see you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain. You say Jerusalem is the right place. Who is right? Where does God truly meet us?" Jesus answered, "God is not contained by sacred geography. God is spirit, breath, wind, life force of all." She said, "When the Messiah comes, he will explain everything." Jesus said, "I am the one speaking with you." The disciples returned, surprised he was speaking with a woman, yet they said nothing. Then the woman left her water jar and went back to the city. "Come and see," she told the people. "He saw me completely. Could he be the one?" Many believed because of her testimony. They asked Jesus to stay, and he remained with them for 2 days. And they said to the woman, "We believed first because of your witness. Now we believe because we have encountered this life for ourselves. This one truly embodies salvation, not of one people only, but for the world." Our second reading is Carrying Our Words by Ophelia Zepeda. We travel carrying our words. We arrive at the ocean. With our words, we are able to speak of the sounds of thunderous waves. We speak of how majestic it is by the ocean power that gifts us songs. We sing of our respect and call it our relative. May the Spirit bless our hearing of these words.
The words of the anthem that the choir is going to offer today say this: "Tell me, where is the road I can call my own, that I left, that I lost so long ago? All these years I have wondered, oh, when will I know there's a way, there's a road that will lead me home? After wind, after rain, when the dark is done, as I wake from a dream in the gold of day, through the air there's a calling from far away. There's a voice I can hear that will lead me home. Rise up, follow me, come away is the call. With the love in your heart as the only song. There is no such beauty as where you belong. Rise up, follow me, I will lead you home.
Would you pray with me? Holy One, we seek home. We seek belonging. We seek you in these moments, in one another, in ourselves, and in this space. Amen. Growing up in northwestern North Dakota afforded exactly one source of exoticness: Canada. I'm serious, Canada. The Canadian border was less than an hour's drive from my hometown. So as a child, we would go on fishing trips at a fish camp in Saskatchewan. We went on vacation over the 4th of July to Winnipeg, Manitoba, because it was a big city and closer than Minneapolis or St. Paul in Minnesota. Imagine our surprise when we couldn't find any fireworks. As teenagers, remember it was the 70s, we drove to Regina in Saskatchewan to buy cases of Macintosh toffee. There is nothing like it in the States. Not too hard, not too soft. It would pull a filling out, yes. It was a confection invented in England in the late 19th century. It is so, so good. And we had the bonus of when we went to buy cases of toffee, we would bring it back and sell it at a profit. Crossing the border in those days was not a big deal. You didn't need a passport. You probably should have had a driver's license. The border agent might ask a couple of questions, but it would be 10 minutes, if that. There was no sense of threat, no suspicion. I mean, Canada was just there, big, friendly, nice, international, right in our backyard. If only crossing borders were still that simple. Today, the border is marched. Suspicion hangs in the air, lines on a map become walls in our imagination. One side to feels dangerous and even forbidden. But it's the human spirit grow when we cross. Only when we see the familiar do our lives expand and widen. Fun fact, I get lost driving with or without my GPS. I call it expanding my boundaries. It reduces the stress. But seriously, in the widening and in the expanding, usually just what we need happens. Healing, hope, a sense of grounding or connection. I tell you, it happens every time. Now, Jesus knew something about crossing borders. Is it the story of Jesus' encounter with Samaritan at the well? Now, to understand how uniquely the story is this connection between Jesus and the woman, we need to first understand the history of the people. For centuries, Jews and Samaritans had lived side by side with deep hostility towards one another. It was not like North Dakota and Saskatchewan. Their conflict stretched back hundreds of years. When the Assyrian Empire conquered the region in 721 BCE, populations were mixed through forced resettlement. Jews viewed the Samaritans as religiously impure and ethnically mixed. Does that sound familiar? The escalated in the late 2nd century BCE when the Jewish ruler John destroyed the Samaritan temple, the place of holy worship, on Mount Gerizim. So by the time of Jesus in the 1st century CE, well, hostility was thick with memory, with violence. Jews often traveled the long way around Samaria rather than cross the border to go through it. But Jesus decides to pass through and finds himself parched and soaked with conflict with his people. Then you add to it another layer, another boundary of gender. A Jewish rabbi did not speak publicly with a woman, and certainly not a Samaritan woman. And yet, here Jesus is, sitting at Jacob's well at noon. He's tired, he's thirsty, and he sure doesn't carry a bucket with him. And then a woman approaches, alone. And Jesus does something remarkable. He asks her for help. Give me a drink. It is a moment of vulnerability. The Messiah, thirsty, and the only hope is a Samaritan woman who actually holds a bucket because, she's prepared. She also finds herself in a moment of vulnerability because she's alone with no one around, with what she perceives as an enemy. Now, as biblical scholar Lindsay Scott and others say, many of us have been led to believe that this woman is a shady lady who goes to the well in the middle of the day because her bad reputation rendered her outcast in her own city. Jesus, the hero, calls out her lifestyle, the husbands and the partner that she's not married to. Well, Jesus sees that and offers her living water, and moved, she repents, converts, and is washed clean. Guess what, my friends? This is not a story about a sinful woman being corrected. That interpretation says more about centuries of patriarchy and misogyny than the text itself. Notice this. Look it up in your in the pews. I think they're black. The gospel never, ever calls her immoral. Never. In fact, Jesus treats her as someone more radical, a theological conversation partner. In fact, this is the longest conversation Jesus has with anyone in any of the Gospels. It is right here with this unnamed Samaritan. She asks questions. She challenges assumptions. It's theology with this. Meanwhile, in the previous chapter, there is Nicodemus, a respected religious in the previous. He encounters Jesus. He leaves confused and silent. But our Samaritan woman, her understanding deals with every single exchange. She recognizes something special unfolding, and Jesus reveals something astonishing. I am the one they have all been waiting for. It is the first revelation of his identity in John's gospel, and he offers it not to the religious insiders, but to a Samaritan woman at a well. Think of it. Think of it. Two strangers, two enemies by history, people shaped by very different worlds, rigidly lined with social constraints and expectations and rights and wrongs. Their very conversation becomes a dance of crossing over the edges where something begins to soften. Because Jesus starts then to speak of living water. In Greek, living water, that phrase, can mean running water, a fresh spring, rather than stagnant water that's been sitting in your water bottle for about a week. It also means something deeper. It means water that gives life, the kind of life that the prophet Isaiah imagined when he wrote, "You shall be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. Living water flows where justice flows, where the hungry are fed, and where the afflicted are cared for." This is the kind of water that Jesus is talking about. And then something beautiful happens. The woman leaves her water bucket behind, runs to her village, and she tells everyone about the man she has met. The whole town then goes out to see Jesus. Then began the story outside. The lies becomes the first evangelist. Gospel. She's not even Jewish. She becomes a bridge. These living waters for all the world. Not nation, not religion, world. See, some healing happened at that well. Not just for the for Jesus too. Because encounters like this stretch the soul. They widen our sense of who God is and who belongs in God's story, which is, by the way, everyone. Biblical scholars even wonder this moment, time and woman, how Jesus see the wide scope of his own vision. This encounter shows his work would not be limited to ethnic religious stories. The living waters of extravagant spill far beyond. Love crossed the border that day. Both Jesus and the woman changed. Becca Stevens, of our Ashley lecturer, after writes about an experience like this. She was visiting a global partner organization, sitting at a table where they were all sharing a meal. And when she finished eating, a woman who worked there placed to the kitchen. Becca saw her eating leftovers that she had put on the plate or it. It humbled me, for she wanted me to her in our work. I can know that what we do helps her in this big wide world. I am a part of healing. This part of my, and then see Stevens writes something profound. Daunting to love one person at a time. But isn't that what we're called to do? To love one person at a time, one conversation at a time, one meal at a time. Says that the goal of reaching across borders is not to change the world. It is to change ourselves. So we can love the world better. Friends, this is exactly what happened. Love stretched the boundary to tell you now that our world right now is full of borders, political, cultural, religious, even borders of alternating realities that seem insurmountable. And too often, those borders are guarded by fear. We cross today, learn from one another, but to dominate one another. Nations and wars erupt. Suspicion grows. Our human story becomes smaller. The story of love moves in the opposite direction. Love is always a border towards us, across everything. And belief and histories of harm and suspicions and fears, there is no place to build a bridge over. Which means the questions he leaves us are, where are the in our own lives? Might a conversation begin that we have avoided? Might the person we assumed was other be carrying the bucket we need? It happens inside comfortable, small boundaries. Again, stretches us when we listen, risk meeting one another. I was reminded of this in my own life last week. Some of you already know this story. The Southern Conference of our denomination invited clergy to a retreat. Our conference more than 2 congregations across North Carolina and Southern Virginia, a wide range of theologies, and mine is out here. I wasn't entirely convinced it would feel like my version of rest. My inner skeptic was lively and unconvinced that anything meaningful awaited me, so of course I said, no, thank you. But then I asked 2 of my colleagues who promised a beautiful retreat center, decent food. I thought, okay. So I packed an ambitious stack of books, my journal, knitting, and very suspicious